Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Star. Today, we're getting y'all into another mock draft. This is with picks up to date as of December 8th. Before the Thursday Night Football game. So let's get into it. Up first, we got the Houston Texans, who recently benched Davis Mills. Obviously, they've had a pretty lackluster season this year. Some would even call it terrible. I think it's a pretty easy choice here. Any dispute on Bryce Young?
Not at all.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy choice here. Just best quarterback in the draft. Get that future built good in Houston.
All right, with this next pick by the Chicago Bears, I'm going easy, Will Anderson. They just need some defense up front, and I think that Will Anderson is the best edge rusher, hands down. But you got edge rushers in the
Either of these two
late.
guys would be good. I think they just need to build up that defense a bit more.
Yeah, but I think that the edge rushers, even going into the late second round, are first round talent guys.
Oh, for sure.
But
Yeah,
I think
Jared Verse, Nolan Smith, BJ. I'm higher on BJ Ojulari than I've seen other people on, but a lot of these guys. I think up to Derek Hall, you've got talented pass rushers here.
Yeah, but I think Will Anderson's generational talent, so I think you got to go there.
Yeah, he's my
There is
highest graded
size
player this year.
concern though, but
And he's been absolutely dominant at Alabama. I don't think there's any dispute at this point that they shouldn't go with him. Up next, we got the Seahawks. So if this was a couple months ago, I'd say CJ Stroud, take it to the bank. But Gino has played very well this season, and I'd argue comeback player of the year performance. And I mean, they're in contention for a playoff spot still. So I'd say go build up that defense a bit. Go Miles Murphy out of Clemson.
honestly, at this point, I think you trade out.
Yeah, and that's definitely another thing. They most likely would trade down here. Just get a couple extra picks. Maybe pick up some receivers in the later rounds, all that stuff. But
it's tough not to take CJ.
definitely, yeah. But I feel like because that's the pick that they traded for with Denver. That's Denver's pick because
Yeah.
how that went. So I feel like they just stick with Gino for at least another year because I feel like give Gino another year, especially since he's played so well this year. He's one of the better quarterbacks this year. So I can definitely see the argument for CJ. He's got the Lions.
All right, with the Lions pick, I'm going CJ Stroud, hands down, easy pick here. Didn't think he'd be on the board, but I think that either way for the last pick, they could either go quarterback or just whatever. But they're lucky they got CJ. So I think Jared Goff is a no-go. I think you have to let him go, let CJ Stroud play freely. They got a pretty decent offensive line they're building up there too. So a lot of protection doesn't help a rookie quarterback or helps a rookie quarterback. So CJ Stroud's the pick. Jameson Williams, he's going to be healthy next year. So we'll see what connection they come up with there.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Detroit's only a couple pieces away, and if they can build up that defense a bit more in free agency this year, they will be. And I can see them contending for bare minimum wild card.
Speaking of contenders, we have the Philadelphia Eagles up next.
Yeah, so up next we got the Eagles. So they've been one of the strongest teams this whole season. Absolutely dominant. And I don't think they have that many needs. And the fact that they're getting a top 10 pick is highway robbery. But I feel like they go, I could see Keely Ringo here. Or I could see like a wide receiver I should know, not really a wide receiver. Maybe this guy Tyree Wilson, I haven't scouted just yet, but I've heard very good things about. But I do think they end up going just get a bit more secondary support. But they are a great team as it is right now.
I feel like Ringo is the Sauce Gardner of this year's draft, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to Carolina. Can you go to quarterbacks real quick? I think here you have to go Will Levis, honestly, just because there isn't really going to be that guy in free agency. And if you want to, I just take a chance on him. He could be boom or bust, to be honest, but it's worth the shot at this point in their franchise's place right now. So I think might as well take a shot at Will Levis. But moving on to Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. So they always start off the year pretty strong, but haven't taken enough steps forward to like continue being a contender. But I feel like in this position, they just go with that D line help, though I could most definitely see them going defensive line, even wide receiver here. But I do think they go Jalen Carter, who's one of the better players in this draft, and I think he'll grade very well at the combine.
All right, so we have the Cardinals here. Can you go to cornerbacks?
Quarter?
Corner.
Oh, I was about to say.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going with Joey. Ooh. Yeah, I'm going Joey Porter Jr. just because you gotta secure that secondary.
Yeah,
It's been one of their biggest issues, so might as well just go on and take that.
definitely. Yeah. So up next we got the Colts, who, despite being favored as one of the better teams this year, have just not been that. And they've been bounced around from being bad to downright horrible. And obviously, their most recent debacle has been the hiring of Jeff Saturday.
Yeah,
which still awesome, but I do think here they're just building for a future that hopefully rolls around, and I think they go. I think this is another trade down situation. Just put yourself in a better position, pick up a first here. Maybe pick up a right. I could see that. I think that here they'll go. What's the corner? Cam Smith, I could see happen, or I think Cam Smith makes the most sense just because he's one of the few players left that they need that is highly ranked. I think
right.
A threat at this point. But I could definitely see them trading down a bit.
I could see if Will Levis was still on the board, I could see that too.
Definitely, yeah.
Moving on to the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to have to go with Tyree Wilson. He's a great prospect out of Texas Tech. Yeah, I've heard good things about him, and I think that Atlanta just needs edge pass rusher help pretty much, and you get your guy Wilson. So moving on.
I feel like this next one, there's 3 guys on the board that Aaron Rodgers is like shouting at the Green Bay staff to get: Quentin Johnston, Jordan Addison, or Jackson Smith.
Yeah, this is a perfect situation for the Packers.
Aaron Rodgers might just retire if they draft anybody over than that.
Honestly, here I think you go long snapper, just to like secure that.
You gotta go Anthony Richardson here. You gotta go Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. Or Jared Hall,
But I do think they go Quentin Johnston here, who's one of the bigger guys in the draft. I believe 6'4", absolutely massive, and is a dominant for. I feel like that could be. I feel like Aaron Rodgers with that could definitely turn back the clock at least a little bit.
Shows some signs of CeeDee Lamb. I see CeeDee Lamb a lot in this dude. He's like a AJ Brown physical receiver. Has some speed to him. I really like what he has done there at TCU. Really elevated that offense a lot. So I think he can elevate and help Aaron Rodgers in his final seasons there and for the future, obviously. So moving on to the Raiders. Raiders here, I think you have to move on from Derek Carr at this point. He's not going to elevate your franchise at all. Could you go to quarterbacks? I think they go Hendon Hooker.
And I feel like I could see them definitely doing that, but I feel like they're going to focus a bit more on offensive line or defensive line just because they need that kind of pressure. And Derek Carr hasn't played poorly in any stretch of the imagination. He just hasn't. It seems to be. I feel like it's more of a team-wide problem than a Derek Carr problem.
I agree. I just think that at this point, you gotta like secure. I mean, I see your point. I just don't. It's either or. To be honest with you.
So up next, we got Houston Texans. Obviously, they got their hopefully future franchise star in Bryce Young, and so now I think they just need to start building around him. which makes this pick really easy. Jordan Addison, the phenom receiver out of USC. I think that's about as easy of a pick as you'll ever get. Just give your brand new quarterback a weapon.
Right, and so that moves us on to this pick. Pittsburgh Steelers gonna have to go easy pick here. Peter Strovinsky. He's the only one that I consider being a decent tackle prospect this year
This year
in
is
the
definitely
first
a rough
round.
tackle prospects.
So
I mean, it's hit them and Paris Johnson are the only two real.
yeah, but I think you have to go Peter at that point.
Okay, yeah. So up next we got Detroit Lions. So obviously they went quarterback in their first, and I do think they don't need much more on offense. If you look at the first, and you look at these suggestions, they're mostly defensive suggestions that they need. So I think they go Brian Brees here. Just to kind of solidify that up a bit, because at one point in the season they were one of the higher scoring offenses, but their defense was terrible, and it has been terrible all year.
Yeah. So I guess that moves us on to the Chargers here. So could you go to tight end? I'm going Michael Mayer.
Okay,
I
nice. Yeah.
think Michael Mayer, I mean, if you're Justin Herbert, you can't really trust any of your receivers right now. But I think other than like Keenan Allen but Mike Williams hasn't performed. He hasn't showed out. Even Keenan Allen, he's took a step back. So I think that Michael Mayer is a safe option here if you're Chargers. You also needed tight end anyway, a good blocking tight end. Michael Mayer can pretty much do it all.
Yeah, Michael Mayer is one of the better tight ends. Definitely the best tight end in this draft by far, and then I'd argue one of the better tight ends we've seen in a while.
Yeah, for sure.
So next we got the Patriots. So obviously they're looking to build. They had a great. Patriots had one of the better rookie seasons that we'd seen, but then this year they've taken a pretty big step back. And one of their big needs is receiver. I think they go JSN from Ohio State, just because they need to get that deeper. I can't think of a receiver on the page, and that might just be me right now, but I can think of anybody right now on that team. And they no longer have Brady to elevate those, who normally be low-ranking players into greatness. They don't have that anymore. Now it's Mac Jones. It was not bad, but just he's a rookie. He's young, so I think it's pretty easy. I think JSN's a pretty easy pick here.
Right. Yeah, and even last year, Jackson Smith-Njigba had with all that talented receiver core in Ohio State, like Olave, you had Garrett, Wilson there. He was the main target for CJ Stroud last year, even with those talent around him. So I think Njigba, I think that gives them like that extra power there too. So I like that pick. Moving on to the Washington Commanders, I think they have to go with a corner here. Christian Gonzalez, perfect pick. Not much I need to say about that. He's a great prospect.
So next we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No, now I'd say they were probably going to go if they probably trade down here, pick up a couple extra picks, and then Anthony Richardson. Keep the Florida guy in Florida. But also Brady's getting old. I mean, even though he said he's not retiring this year, he's going to be retired within, and realistically 5 years. He should be out of the league. So you need to start. And I don't think Kyle Trask is that by a long shot. So I think they go, but I don't think they can address that this high in the draft. So I do think they trade down, but as of right now, I'd say they go Isaiah Foskey, edge rusher out of Notre Dame. He's one of the guys who I've been on, but I feel like this is a pretty good spot for him. It works a bit.
Yeah, so moving on to the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks really need linebacker. They also need quarterback, but obviously you don't need quarterback that bad. So I think at the end of the day, you have to go with one of the better options here, and I think they go with Paris Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the few offensive tackles in this draft that I don't think is. I think he's one of the few tackles that is going to be a first round pick. So I don't know.
And if you're Tennessee, you're devastated.
Yeah, but I do think Broderick Jones out of Georgia is a good
That's true.
thing pick there, just because I mean, he's played very strong against very high level competition, and he's because I've seen moving up a lot of people's draft boards.
And honestly, if you're Tennessee, you're considering moving up with previous picks to get a offensive lineman and possibly a wide receiver.
Yeah,
You want to try to
and
get
especially
both.
now we're not trading off AJ Brown for a first. Now
Tell
that
me about it.
J Rob's gone.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll just have a smarter front office, to be honest. These past few years have been rough for our rookies, other than Traylon, who I think is going to be good. But I feel like every single pick, every first round pick the past few years, just not going to do anything, not going to be anything. So
Yeah. So who going for the Jets?
Oh, that's me. Okay. Jets, they're going they would go offensive alignment, but again, not great. Not great. Anyone great,
And this guy's looked like a revolving door all season. I'm looking to
Yeah.
this guy, but
Yeah, I think here you have to go safety with Brian Branch. Just get that secondary cleared up.
yeah, definitely. So next we have the Giants, who've had a far better season than I think anybody was expecting of them. I don't think quarterback is a bit early, but I could see them going Anthony Richardson here. I don't love anybody else. I think they do go Anthony Richardson here, get that quarterback of the future, and then maybe go wide receiver a bit later in the draft. But again, this could be like, they trade down to 28, pick up a second, and you can still probably get Anthony Richardson. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go Jared Verse here.
Good pick.
Florida State. Because when I was at that Titans game against the Broncos, our terrible offensive line, probably the worst offensive line we've seen in years in the NFL. They got maybe one sack. Maybe I don't even remember if they got a sack. I don't think they got one sack that game against Dennis Daly, who's one of the stat-wise one of the worst left tackles period, I guess, in the league since 2014. So I think that you have to address the edge situation there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and Jared Verse is a I'd say he's probably edge rusher 3 or 4 on most people's boards right now. Strong edge rusher. So up next we got the Baltimore Ravens. So obviously you got Lamar's decision looming a bit. They're all hoping that he resigns there. Obviously receiver is a need for them, but I don't really think there's anybody right now. I mean, Rashee Rice, all these guys are good, probably second round picks. Jalen Hyatt staying every year in college, so he's not on the board. Just signed an NIL deal with Hyatt Hotels.
Did he actually?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
One of the ones that just makes sense. It just makes sense.
Yep.
But I feel like they go Clark Phillips here out of Utah. Just get that corner situation figured out a bit, since they are aging on defense.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, moving on to the Bengals. Can you go interior and just regular offensive line? Oh, okay. I'm going Anton Harrison. Actually, no, I'm going Duncan. I think Duncan, as you said, I think he can fill that role at offensive tackle. You keep building up your offensive line, and I think that adding him just builds it up more. So
Okay, up next we have the Cowboys. So this has them finishing pretty well and has them one of the being the highest ranked team that got knocked out in the second round. So they have a strong finish. I feel like they just keep building that, and their offense is pretty good. I think you just get another guy from Micah Parsons. I think they go Trenton Simpson here out of Clemson. though Noah Sewell is is a tantalizing pick. I think they just go which I think is slightly better than Sewell, but either of them I think win.
Right. And we know Penei Sewell
Of
plays
course.
is his brother and plays in for the Lions, but that's another story. Kansas City, you're just sitting here at this point, you're trying to go best player available.
Yeah.
And look who's on the board. Bijan Robinson. You're gonna learn from your mistake of drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You don't need that style running back in your offense. I think Bijan Robinson would fit perfectly in their system. Just if Robinson's probably gonna be the next big running back in the NFL, so might as well have him along with Patty.
Yeah, I mean that adds an element to that Chiefs deep and Chiefs offense that just hasn't been seen. I mean, they've always had like a decent run game, but it's never been truly threatening.
Right.
So, but if you add that, I feel like there's not many people who are going to be able to stop it, especially if they can add a bit in the offseason, just add a bit of receiver help. So up next, I feel we got the Vikings, who evidently had a very strong finish to the season, getting knocked out in the championship round. There's not really any. I mean, Eli Ricks has been on and off the bench all season. I could see them going Josh Downs here, or Noah Sewell. But I do think they go Josh Downs, just the receiver out of North Carolina, who's a big Drake May's quick ascension into one of the top QBs in the game, honestly. But I feel like having that threat could be massive for them.
Yep, and now we have the Buffalo Bills here. I'm probably gonna have them go with Noah Sewell.
Yeah.
You know, having Noah is just gonna be an extra push to your. Just gotta secure that run game because I know their run defense has been pretty average. So I think he'll definitely help stopping the run.
Yeah. Up next, we got the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, who I think go Jamar Gibbs here. He's an electric running back at Alabama. I think he adds that element of pass catching out of the backfield that they just don't have at the moment. And I feel like he just adds an extra dimension that's will just make the Eagles defense the Eagles offense that much better.
Yeah, for sure.
So we got one more pick in this draft. The Texans are back on the clock.
Are they actually?
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was okay.
This counts the 32nd pick, which is the first pick of the second round.
Okay. Here, to be honest, you probably go with Nolan Smith.
Yeah.
Their defense hasn't been good at all, so
I don't think nothing about that team has been good at all.
no, yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, and that's our draft. Texans obviously had an amazing one, picking up their future number one receiver and at quarterback, and adding a bit to that defense. Yeah, but tell us what you think in the comments. Have a good one.
All right, peace out, everyone.
See ya.
All right.